The Opel Grandland X in our full driving review. Today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the exterior, interior and driving experience, and also tell you more about the future, also the future engine lineup of this model. Will be really exciting, and also compare it to other competitors in this SUV segment, because we've driven them all already. So I would say full HD, full screen, full length, let's go! The Grandland X, Opel or Vauxhall, shows a very friendly face. It's not too aggressive. You see why those round structures right there. Then those Opel wings we see. Then the daytime running lights, pretty interesting structure that brings the modern stuff in there. They are on every model you can buy. However, the main headlamps, they come with halogen as standard or optional, as we see them right here, with full LED. And by the way, this one here is of course my favorite color. We call that an Autogefühl Thomas Blue. And well, Opel didn't want to call it Thomas Blue because they didn't want to pay the license fees to me, you know. And so they called it Topaz Blue. Funny coincidence, isn't it? 4.47 m or 14'7" is the total length. You know, this one here is a sister model to the Peugeot 3008. The PSA Corporation and Opel, they have this cooperation even before PSA bought Opel. They wanted to bring this vehicle here basically together. So we'll also tell later when we drive the vehicle and also show the interior, you know, something about the differences. Then the basic design, you know, they're not too dramatic here. Here a little bit playing of light and shadow with a dropping line right there. Then you can get a contrasting roof, as we can see right here. Also roof rails. However, you cannot combine roof rails and the panoramic roof. That's why we do not have a panoramic roof on this very vehicle. Then 16 to 19 inch wheels, this is, you know, the wheel span. This one here 18, I think a good choice. You still have enough tire left that you don't damage them too easily, but already got a very good style. Pricing point, really interesting. German prices reference 24,000 to about 35,000 full pack. And this one here today with the petrol engine, 3-cylinder and some equipment, not everything, to lend something in between. So overall, I think, you know, pretty good price-performance ratio. We can always say that so far. We'll go in detail further on. And towards the rear, we see that C-pillar stands out, makes this main design towards the rear. And this part here in the rear, about 20 centimeters longer than the Mokka X and 26 centimeters longer than the Crossland X. So this is where it sits in the model lineup from Opel. However, we have already put you a static review where you can compare Mokka X, Crossland X and Grandland X. So tune into that one too. Today is focused on this vehicle and the driving part. And now to the rear with the design line. Here it's, you know, like a lower placed wing a little bit. Horizontally placed tail lights, also with LED technology. And then, for example, talking about the material mix, here, this is plastic, also to bring the weight down, soon more to that. It's generally a really good idea, actually. And in the lower part, this rugged SUV style and fake exhaust tips to keep the same design layout no matter which engine you have. Tell me what you think about the design overall of the Grandland X, and also if you compare it to other compact SUVs. And also to show you a different color, this one here is called the dark ruby red, so a wine red color. But I think also, you know, pretty powerful color. What do you think, what you like best? So what about engines? And well, the hood is also very light. You directly feel that. They use lightweight materials all over the vehicle. So they could, for this vehicle here, for the 3-cylinder petrol engine, 1,350 kilograms in weight. That's among the lightest vehicles in this class, and it's maybe also an explanation of the low consumption. This one here, 3-cylinder petrol engine, 1.2 liter of displacement, 130 horsepower, 10.8 seconds acceleration figure, and then there later on will probably also be the stronger petrol engine we see in the Peugeot 3008, the 1.6 liter petrol with 165 horsepower, not available yet. And that one, the stronger petrol engine, will then also be combined with a plug-in hybrid, the first one then for this. This is the 4-cylinder then. Then diesel is also available, 1.6 liter, 4-cylinder, 120 horsepower. This is 1 second faster than this one here, to 100. And later on, they will also introduce the same with the 3008, the 2-liter diesel, then with 180 horsepower. This one is 2 seconds faster in the acceleration than this very engine we see here today. So they start with, rather small lineup for the engines and then expand it later on. Sure, I think the most interesting one will be the plug-in hybrid, because so far all engines front-wheel drive, and they have this traction control optional you can get. Yeah, I mean, if you really need it. Why did they do it? Well, they looked at the market, and most SUVs in those class, when you do not have the choice, actually, when you do have the choice, they buy it with front-wheel drive, normal customers. It's just that some all-wheel drive are being bought because you can only get a certain horsepower figure together with all-wheel drive. However, when you then get the plug-in hybrid, then you will also have an electric motor, which will then deliver all-wheel drive. There's no date for that yet. I expect the plug-in hybrid to be somewhat in 2018, and then of course we will present it also to you. So far I think this one here is probably the most interesting engine for this vehicle. That's why we are driving it today. Get inside. There's also keyless entry here available. Now I close the car. Here. Now I opened it again. Door closing sound. Pretty solid. What is interesting, look at the lower part of the doors. How far that goes to the lower part, and that means, and also here there's a second lip, and that should keep this area here all the way clean all the time. And then inside of the doors, some leather red is being used, and here soft touch on the upper part. Here, this part here, this could be maybe stepped up a little bit in the build quality. This is one thing I found. Other than that, we see very good build quality. You will soon see that. For big bottles, right here. Then interesting piece is this lip, because when the doors open, it looks crazy, but when it's closed, it goes right in there, and then from the inside, it looks better than. Really interesting concept. Then, if you compare this cockpit here with the 3008, this one is more conservative, the 3008 is more progressive. This one here is a classic cockpit, so you don't need to learn anything. It's, what you're used to. This different approach. The seats in all trim levels come with fabric standard. Also, you can get those optional AGR seats, also with fabric. They have, a little bit wider areas, more shoulder support. Here in the front, you can also lengthen the seating area. This is here the optional animal skin package, which you can leave out to save money. There's also in the dynamic trim level, there is a mix of leatherette and fabric available, which is also very attractive visually and also still sustainable. So I would probably go for that one. This one, if you want to have a very nice choice. Here also with electric seat control, you can push it forward, backward, the back part of the seats, electric lumbar support. But again, my favorite feature is here just the manual and lengthening of those seats, especially for tall people. So I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", and this headroom remains when I'm seating here. And there is a panoramic roof available, as I said earlier, and this reduces the headroom just a little bit. We have compared it in our static review. If you're really interested in the panoramic roof, you should check out that one. The steering wheel can be adjusted in all of the four ways. Here, this last part here, this is a little bit loose, I think. So they could check the mechanism again. But I mean, this is, just what I feel and experience. In general, does the job very well. There's also a heated steering wheel option available. That would be right here. The rest of the control is for the cruise control. There's a normal one available and an adaptive cruise control. The instruments, I can also show you that already right here. The steering wheel move more to me. Left side RPM, right side speed, pretty classic. And in the middle part, then you have, for example, some consumption figures and other information. You can bring the consumption down, by the way. So this figure you just seen there is a little bit, you know, after some driving forth and back for shooting. Our average figure will be about 6.5 liters for this very engine. That's quite okay. More to that testing while we drive the car. So the cockpit overview, you can see here again a rather classic layout. Soft touch on the top of the dashboard, then this leatherette style right there. There's 7-inch and 8, like this, and 8-inch, that's the bigger one available. So this is the top infotainment system. Soon more deals to that. This is the integration with this glass screen. And below that, there's a classic temperature unit. This is also different to the Peugeot 3008. You can still turn the temperature right there, not where the vents are coming from. Then you have to press the menu button in the lower part, and then you get to this one here in the upper part, and then you can control the vents. Other than that, for example, seat heating and also seat cooling here, the lower part. And below that, there's some space, for example, mobile phone and one USB charger, 2, and a 12-volt power supply. Pretty big shifting stick here, so yeah, we can grab it very well. A classic for Opel that you can put the reverse gear when you lift this ring. And the visor here. Good size and also in this bright style. And this one here, the mirror is actually quite wide and has 2 lights. And well, why I'm showing this? Because we had recently an inquiry from one of our female viewers, and she asked us, can you please also review the mirrors in the sun visors, because it is important to me. And of course, yeah, of course, we are always listening to our views. And I think this one here is especially suited if you want to check yourself once more. So the infotainment system in detail, you can control it with the knobs for the temperature unit here, but you can also do it in the screen. So this is both possible. And again, where the air is coming from, you just do it right there. And then there's no special home screen for this infotainment system. You directly click the hotkeys and then come to audio or the GPS as we have it right here. When you zoomed in, it works quite fast. Zooming in and out is also quite okay speed-wise. And phone, either connecting it via Bluetooth, or here we are cable and Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, so both is possible. Set would be for the option screen, and this one here for some for vehicle information, and just here for the volume or muting it. I would like to have maybe a standard app screen, where I see the main menu also in the display. That's, what I would have desired maybe. Then cup holders right here, this little rubber pads to adjust a little bit to hold bottles tight. You can also push this one up, maybe to put something just flat in here, whatever. And then you can also remove the whole stuff. So this is both possible. And then there's the armrest. Is, well, half fairly attached, could be maybe a little bit fixer. And this, a small seat belt for the smartphone. Why? This holds the smartphone, which is suitable for inductive charging, because behind it there's this inductive charging pad option, of course. And now to the rear compartment. Door doesn't open too wide. By the way, for the CX-5 reason here, the door opened a little bit wider. Then let's get inside. And this is suitable for 4 adults. So even when a tall driver like me is driving in the front, I could maybe put the seat a little bit steeper. But this does exactly fit with my knees. Headroom, plenty still available when you do not have the panoramic roof. Then there's also this manual sunshade for the rear. Here we go. And what's also interesting, I really love the bright ceiling here in this vehicle that makes the interior so bright, even if you don't have the panoramic roof. And if you're living in, country with hot climate or hot summers, then the panoramic roof isn't the best idea anyway. Seating position is also upright and basically comfortable here in the rear. You can also flip the seats from here. You see they go a little bit lower also with the low part of the seats. So they then have a better transition to the rear. Here again, when I put them up, they go higher. Put them down, they go lower. Isofix points at the outside seats, and then there's an armrest with cup holders, but they are not, really secured, and it's also not really straight. So better watch you kids. And then there's also a ski hatch where I can reach through the rear. And interesting features also, that option you can get the heated seats for the rear in 3 levels even, another USB port, and also 212 volt real cable plug in the very lower part. So for the trunk we have those possibilities. This is the key, similar in the Peugeot 3008. We can press the button. We can press the button right here below, or optional available is also this kick mechanism. And yeah, that was first try and first success. And then let's take a look here. Actually good dimensions, not too high actually, but you can also put the cover here one step below like this, then it is higher. Or you can just, remove it entirely. That's also possible. So you can fit a replacement tire there, for example. See, there's enough space left. And to flip the seats, you can use those here, 2/3, 1/3 split. Same on the other side. Here we go. And the liter figures 514 to 1,652 liters. Driving parts, and we'll start on the motorway, directly pushing it with 80 kilometers through the corner. The suspension is really stable, so there's not too much rolling. The steering wheel is rather soft, not too direct. You see here is also an area where it's not responding that well, but it's very easy to steer and command. When I get on the motorway, I also have the assistant systems. For example, the blind spot monitor. So let's see. Maybe if someone wants to overtake us. Well, I'm not driving fast enough at the moment. Soon vehicles are coming, then you can see it in the side mirror. Because we will start cruising first with 6-speed manual gearbox. There is this indicator. And interesting thing here, we've talked about in the Peugeot 3008 as well. It only flashes in the exact moment where the vehicle is next to you. So this is different philosophy. We had that, as a subject sometime before, because other systems, they flash earlier when the vehicles are approaching. And you can say, that's safer. On the other hand, you can say, okay, I see what's in the mirror and the spot is only flashing in the second where I can't see anything. And then I can rely on it, because what happens with those systems that are appearing earlier, that sometimes you say, it flashes, but the vehicle is so far away. But here, when you see the dot, then it's like really emergency. However, I think it's still better when you have these systems that are acting earlier, because maybe in the second, where this one is flashing, maybe the situation is already over then. So, and let's go to the 6th gear and have some cruising at 100 kilometers an hour. So that's about 62 miles an hour then. And let's see how the vehicle performs also RPM wise, because it's a 3-cylinder engine. So 100. And we are just above 2000 RPM. We will of course also take a look at the consumption, what we can score, at the minimum level, basically. So if we zero it out, for example, now we know basically what the consumption is. So sound installation wise, I think it's quite acceptable. Maybe we had some better results from time to time. Just 2 days ago we had the CX-5. It was a little bit more silent, wasn't it? I think so, yeah. So Michelle agrees. Yeah, but it's not bad at all, you know. It's quite good. Sound installation is really at a good niveau. However, the new CX-5 is a little bit better in this respect. Stability here is really given suspension-wise, so it is fun also to drive with this suspension. And then, you know, here, just the first few degrees, a little bit dead from the steering wheel, but then it reacts quite well. Well, if you're cruising mainly, it's also no problem to have the 3-cylinder engine because, you know, there's no acceleration problem whatsoever. Also control something from the infotainment screen here, also with the steering wheel, by the way. Also, if you put down volume up and down, heated steering wheel also at the steering wheel available. Nice to turn it on in winter times especially. And we also have the cruise control here. There is also an adaptive cruise control available. This vehicle is not equipped with it, but there are other vehicles here also at the driving event which do have that. You can put it also to a speed limiter, that's also possible. However, I'm just using the normal cruise control here right now. So now I've zeroed out the consumption. Let's see what will be the minimum consumption when you're just cruising at 100 kilometers an hour on the motorway. Because this steady speed is actually one way where you can get the least consumption in the vehicle. So that's 4.9 liters, it seems. And this will of course go up when we accelerate a little bit, but you know, when you do like this, you basically get the feeling for what is the engine capable of on the minimum consumption level. That's pretty interesting for sure. So when we go to some acceleration, maybe let's go to the 4th gear here and do some 100 to 120. We can also pause the cruise control for that. Police. Good speed, right? So 100 to 120 in the 4th gear. Let's see what happens. And plop. That's it. We can also try it again in the 3rd gear to give it some more RPM. Overview in general is quite good, by the way. Wheels are rather upright. Side mirrors offer you a wide view, so that's really pleasing. Also to the rear mirrors, so cannot complain at all about the visibility. So now 100, 3rd gear. That gives us. Oh, what's happening there? What are they doing? Okay, that's interesting. The police got in front of all of the vehicles here. It's now like doing slalom with warning indicators flashing. Why would they do that? Maybe they said, I don't want Autogefühl to do another acceleration test anymore. But why would they sabotage us? What are they doing now? So now they got off the road? Okay. Now they're picking up some stuff that was lying at the side of the... Okay. You know, life experience with Autogefühl, also strange things police does sometimes. back to our driving part. So now we wanted to get some 100 to 120 in the third gear with using more RPM. Let's see if that does any difference. And bam. Plop. Yeah, that went a little bit faster, so you can give it a little bit more RPM and then the engine is also a little bit faster. The shifting stick, by the way, feels pretty good. It's a thick stick. Nice, thick stick. Hey. No. This is a car review, guys. Please, come on. And the shifting is actually quite fast also and crisp. So hardly any resistance going back and forth through the gears. Oh, this had a little resistance now. Let's go back third and fourth again. Yeah, third to fourth you have to go a little bit harder. Usually you keep it in the higher gears anyway at those high speeds here. So let's go to sixth gear again to save some fuel. Now consumption of course went up to 7 liters. But that's of course, when you do those acceleration tests. But from the performance, you can say also when you do some overtaking on the motorway, the 3-cylinder is really okay. So if you ask yourself before, is it also okay when I go to the motorway with the 3-cylinder? It's perfectly fine. So that's I think one of the key findings here so far. Let's drive a little bit faster, and you see even in the 6th gear there's still acceleration from that turbo coming. It's really okay. Now, sound insulation wise, we are now at 150 kilometers an hour. It's still fine. So I think they did a great job here. Also seating wise, it's very comfortable. Can't complain about that. So now again, so the blind spot monitor only works in vehicles coming from behind, not if you change the lane that the vehicle is directly next to you. So I'm really not too fond of this system from the blind spot monitor here. And of course you really have to know that this system here works differently than the other systems you might know. Yeah, action like those, cutting people off like this at higher speeds, German Autobahn is often just a war zone. I'm not sure why people do that. I think they should practice some yoga or something like that to get their life sorted out. Now we're getting off the motorway. Brakes are also quite good. I was hitting the brakes a little bit hard because this guy who was cutting me off before then hit the brakes pretty hard, and Michelle was like, oh. When you're the driver, you know when you're braking, and you also have the steering wheel to hold on to. So a very calm riding experience here. Good behaving also here in the corners. Also the 3-cylinder works just fine. It's really good. So, already with the Peugeot 3008 we had a positive verdict at the end of the driving, that's for sure. And we can only repeat that also here for the Opel Grandland X. I mean, it's really a relaxed, calm drive. I have the upright seating position, the good overview. You do not necessarily need to go for the diesel engine if you just want the petrol. That's also totally cool. So consumption is at the moment at 7 liters, although we had those acceleration tests. Can also, clear it just again to see what the city driving will bring us. Now it's really calm, if you compare it to the Autobahn and then the city driving part. By the way, there's a heated windscreen also installed in this very vehicle. I feel always a little bit disturbed by that because, there's small lines. There are two systems. Those, small cables that are running through there. And there's also a foil available. We know that, for example, from the Volkswagen Golf, where you do not see anything. I think the system is better when you have those small lines. Some say, I don't see it at all, so I don't mind. But I see it because, I have to wear glasses. so my vision is like not that good when I don't look through the glasses. But when I have the glasses on, I have like I think 130% of seeing power, or how you call that. So when I have my glasses on, I see very well, and then I can also see those small lines right there. So I would rather not go for it. But then again, if you're in the winter times, you do not have any parking garage or something like that, then it's a big advantage that you have a clear view in the front, especially when you're in a colder climate. So now heading to some city driving. This is also an integral part, of course, of this vehicle. Speed camera, hello. No, you won't get us. Peace. So yeah, here, you know, around the Frankfurt region, a lot of very evil speed cameras. And, you know, they introduced those a couple of years ago, and they can also, you know, get every single lane and stuff. But of course, you know, who would ever drive faster than allowed, right? Why would you do that? Turning indicator sound is, by the way, better than in the Peugeot 3008. In the Peugeot, it's sometimes a little bit, you know, it sounds like in a cheap arcade game. And here it's just a very neutral one, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, talking about the difference to the 3008, the brother, would you really feel that those are same cars? If you didn't knew the same platform before, you would probably not find out. If you know it before, you could say, yeah, somewhat is similar, but they have a different suspension setting, for example. So this one here does drive a little bit different. And also, you know, due to the very small steering wheel in the Peugeot, is a different driving feeling. This vehicle here rather conveys a feeling of, you know, a classic conservative car, a normal car, a normal SUV. You do not have to get used to it. The Peugeot 3008 is rather this, you know, avant-garde style, visually, also with the cockpit, but then also driving-wise, it's a little bit more exciting. But the question is, what do you want? Do you want, you know, the rather standard deal? You don't want to get used to something, or you really prefer to have something, you know, pretty new? And that's just up to you. It's not good or bad. It's just what you really want. So let's get inside here. See also how it performs here. See again, very easy to steer. And also, you know, in the city, very calm, this engine, very well insulated. You know, we had the bigger petrol engine in the Peugeot 3008 before. That will probably also be, again, available at a later stage for this one here, as we'll also see the plug-in hybrid with that one. You don't really need it, but you could go for it, of course, if you want to afford the extra price. Here, again, you know, acceleration inside the city, if you, for example, have like second gear from 20 to 40, you know, we have some room and space here that you get an impression here. So second gear, 20 to 40 kilometers. Bam. Plop. That's it. You see, 20, you know, needs to get some RPM. Better is, for example, when it's already at speed 30 to 50. You see that this will work a little bit better. Let's go there. Plop, 50. And still, you know, doing some fun stuff here, and consumption still stays between 6 and 7 liters. So also consumption-wise, considering this, you know, it's not a small SUV, it's pretty fine. Well, we do some more consumption tests later on, but so far, really have to say, I'm you know, pretty satisfied also consumption-wise with this vehicle. I think we can definitely live with that. You can score 5 liters if you want. I think a realistic value will be about 6.5, and I think it's really good. We have some small vehicles where we score this consumption figure with petrol engines. So I think they've also done quite a good job in this case then. So, what else are you interested in? If you have any more questions, of course, use the comments for that. But I think we can definitely always take a very positive verdict from driving this new SUV. And now to our conclusion for today, Opel Grandland X driving review. So from the exterior, really likable, a modern SUV with a friendly face, not too harsh in the design, so you can be a little bit more progressive with other SUVs. The same accounts for the interior. They really stepped up the game in the build quality on the interior. That's, really good. From the basic layout and the styling, it is rather conservative. This one is a clear difference to the Peugeot 3008, where you more get this, progressive, innovative cockpit. And then you can really choose what you really like, because not everyone wants to be so progressive in vehicle buying. Here you get basically what you know. Driving-wise, I think overall a good standard performance. So all of the different driving characteristics, really good. It's fun to drive, it's a comfortable ride. Also silent enough, that's for sure. The 3-cylinder petrol engine really works very well. Also, with 6.5 liters of consumption, 100 kilometers, also reasonable consumption due to the lightweight of this vehicle. That's really astonishing, especially with the small petrol engine. And, there are even more engines evolving. Really looking forward to the plug-in hybrid of that one here as well, how that one will drive. And that one will then also have all-wheel drive. So, different aspects we covered here today, especially considering the price you will get this vehicle at. It's affordable, compact SUV and with overall a very good performance. I would like to hear your feedback, of course, to this very vehicle. Also check out our comparison episode with a static Mokka X, Crossland X, Grandland X. We will link that in the video description. And of course, see you at the next Autogefühl episode with Thomas or with one of my colleagues. Please keep supporting us.